Now let me ask a couple of different questions using those examples. Jeff, beef on a McDonald's hamburger. Which of those three categories does it fit into for components of product cost? Direct materials is exactly right. Chris, corridor. Let's talk again about the grill that was used to warm up that piece of meat. Which of those three categories does that fall into? Say both words. Okay. Manufacturing overhead. Okay? Manufacturing overhead. Very good. Have you finished your card, Matt? Because I want to be able to call on you. Otherwise, you're not going to have as much fun in class. Okay. So were you here when I called roll this morning?
Yeah, my name was.
Okay. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
As we also already, did I welcome you properly, Ryan?
No, sir.
No? Well, welcome. You're welcome. How come all the people who missed the first day of class are sitting in the back row? I don't care. I mean, I don't care. You're Chris. I just talked to you. Okay. Let me do it in this order. Where's Alex, Devine? Alex, let's talk salt on McDonald's French fries. What is it? What is it? It is certainly materials, isn't it? It's a little bit of a, in a sense, it's a trick question because I'm going to use this as an opportunity to introduce a new concept for us. It is clearly materials, clearly. However, how much do you think the salt in a batch of McDonald's French fries costs? Very little. Is it worthwhile to keep track of that cost? Probably not. Not on a per unit, maybe not even on a per batch basis, right? And so we have a name for that. It's clearly a material, and of the choices you had on the board, you gave us the right one. But what I'm going to introduce are this is just kind of another couple of terms that I'm going to introduce for us. Really what I would call that is an indirect material. It's clearly a material, but it's so small that the company might not necessarily keep track of those costs separately. Another such indirect material cost might be the varnish on the wood or the paint on the metal, where it doesn't take very much and it doesn't cost very much. And so you might not keep track of those costs separately, like you would keep track of the cost of the wood or the metal or even the screws. Okay. Indirect material. And then there's another concept similar to this, related to this, indirect labor. Are there people involved in the production process who may not touch the table? Sir?
Yeah.
Like who?
Like the truck drivers who bring it in.
Like the truck drivers who bring what in?
The material that you're going to.
Okay. Although technically those particular people, the cost of bringing it in is actually, in most instances, included in the cost of the raw material itself. Okay. And so the examples I like to give are the people who sweep the floor and keep the production facility clean. Are they touching this? No. Are they a necessary part of the production process? Absolutely. There's sawdust and crud that needs to be cleaned up. Or maybe the people who keep the bathrooms clean or who make sure that there's snacks in the vending machines You know, maintenance on the machinery could or could not. I mean, I can see either way. You know, for better or for worse, in cost and managerial accounting, there's no gap for managerial accounting. There's no rules. And so I can see it being considered indirect labor, or some companies might just keep track of it separately as maintenance costs, either or. Because what I want you to really recognize is that all manufacturing overhead does not fall into these two categories. Okay, so that's the mistake I do not want you to make. All manufacturing overhead does not fall into these two categories. These are just two possible categories of what might be manufacturing overhead. Is that clear? Jeff? This means yes, and this means no, and then that means I don't know. Are we good? You awake?
Yeah.
Trying?
Yeah,
You're here? Questions, comments, concerns, random thoughts? Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so an indirect material, is it just something that you wouldn't want to measure by unit or?
Yes.
So just.
Clearly there's a cost associated with it that can be added up, but you wouldn't necessarily keep track of it on a per unit basis.
Okay.
Exactly right.
So is there any other example of an indirect material that's not necessarily that way? Like it's not because they don't want to keep track of the cost per unit, but it's for some other reason?
Probably not.
Okay.
Probably not. I mean, it's going to be, indirect materials are by definition things that they don't want to keep track of.
Okay.
Any other questions, comments, concerns, random thoughts?
So they just put it in bulk and
And then we'll learn about how do they account for it later in the semester. But yes.
Essentially, it's like a consumable.
But it's a consumable that's spread out across.
Like the thread in your shirt would be.
Like the thread in my shirt would be another good example. It's clearly a material. It's always a material. But it's just a tiny, tiny cost that you might not keep track of separately.